Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new, and Happy New Year! Happy 2023, you guys. A new year is a fresh start and a great time for setting new goals for yourself and your life. And if you're someone who wants to make writing a bigger priority in your life, or maybe finally write a book like you've been putting off for years, or you've been too afraid to jump into, or you just haven't found the time to do, then take this as your sign to make writing a bigger priority in your life this year. If that is your goal, I'm so excited for you guys, and I will share with you guys my best tips for writing a book in 2023. My first tip for you guys is very simple, very basic, and probably the most important part, and it's to make a writing goal. Whether it's a collection of poems, a memoir, a novella, a novel, maybe you even want to start off smaller and just do one full draft of a novel. Whatever it is, figure out what writing goal makes the most sense for you and make that a base goal for this year. You can also measure this goal a different way by just wanting to write every single day or every single week, every month. Whatever it is, whatever your writing goal may be, set a writing goal, write it down somewhere so that you have something to work for. Now, using this writing goal, you need to make a plan for achieving that goal to break it up into bite-sized, attainable pieces. If you want a really organized way to do this, I suggest using a planner. If you're looking for a good planner this year and your goal is to write more this year, I have the perfect planner for you guys. It's the one I'm going to be using this year, and it's from Racon, which is an amazing company that is designed for writers. Racon is a play on the French word raconteur, which means storyteller, and their products are absolutely amazing. First of all, it's a digital planner. I absolutely love that because it syncs to my GoodNotes, so I can have it on my phone, my iPad, my laptop, computer, and it's synced across all of them. So I can have my iPad open and make a change and it'll sync onto my computer, and it's just so convenient. Like, I can bring this wherever I go. You know, I'm gonna have classes at school, some people are working, so it's so great for me to have a digital planner that I can easily take with me everywhere I go and access. So I absolutely love it. And not only does it have anything you could possibly want in a planner, like, you know, the standard yearly overview, monthly overview, weekly overview, daily overview, as well as habit tracker, financial tracker, weight loss planning, anything you could think to need in a planner, all in one space, really in a really organized way. But since, like I told you guys, it's a company specifically made for us writers, it literally has all the tools we need to create and build a great story in the planner. So if your plan this year is to write a book, then I highly recommend getting this planner, because every time you use it, you will be able to see all of your writing stuff there to remind you of your goal and of your plan to write this year. I personally used a planner from Racon during Preptober NaNoWriMo with the writing elements in it, and it was a game changer when I was planning my novel, because it has everything you need to plan out your novel, from research, the story analyzer to build a good story, plot builder, story builder, etc. It even has space where you can write your actual manuscript, your first draft, second draft, whatever it is, in the planner itself. It has line paper, blank paper, grid paper, so you can truly have everything in one space, which is really nice. But my favorite part when I was using it was the character profile, because I built in-depth aesthetic character profiles in my planner, and when I was writing the second draft of my story in November, I would constantly go to this so that I could have like my character profile open and go through it like while I was writing, to remember what my characters were like and how I wanted them to be progressing and growing throughout each chapter. It was just a great way to stay on track, to have everything planned out into this planner and to have it open while I was writing. So that was great. If you guys are interested in using this planner for yourself this year to help make writing a priority, then you can use my code for a percentage off, and I know you guys will love it because I absolutely am obsessed with it. Also, a key thing to note when you're planning out your writing goal is to not make it too constricted. Coming from personal experience, it can take you longer than you might think to finish a draft or to plan your story. For example, NaNoWriMo was a challenge where you had to write a certain amount of words every month. There were days that I didn't expect to write 0 words, but that's exactly what ended up happening, which set me back from my goal. So take that into a year-long mindset. Account for more time than you think you would need to finish each portion of your goal, whether that's writing your first draft and then your second draft, or writing your entire draft throughout the year. Whatever it is, leave some room in your goals so that you don't feel too constricted and you don't feel super discouraged when you haven't met that goal. When I'm in school, I have less time to write, so I like to give myself some more time to finish a goal, and then in the summer I have more time usually, so I can narrow my goal down a bit. Now that you have your writing goal, what's next is to plan your book, your poetry collection, whatever it is. Plan it out. Now, some people are planners, they're outliners, they need a very in-depth, detailed outline of their novel. If that's the case, make that your first goal, is to choose a story idea and then take some time to plan it out. And not only that, but write down everything that you come up with. Don't just let it sit in your head. Write down the title idea, the characters you want to put in it, the concept, the plot, brainstorm, and put it all out there on a paper or type it up, because it's way more concrete if you actually take it from your head to a piece of paper or to your computer, to your planner, and have that out there, so it's much more tangible. If you're someone who isn't a plotter or an outliner and you like to pants your story, as in discovery draft, write as you go, then I still recommend that you put down as much as you can. If you have the title, the concept, some characters, some dialogue, some snippets of dialogue here and there, whatever it is, just put it down somewhere where you can easily access it so that you have something to go back to and something to reference. So whether general or in-depth, it's really, really important to plan out your book, because it makes it much more likely that you are going to start and finish your book this year, to actually write from beginning to end. I used to write a bunch of different story ideas when I was younger, and I would get so many ideas, I would sit down, I would start writing them, and I would finish not a single one of them. I just have a bunch of started stories. I think I still have them in like my Google Docs or Google Drive or something, and there were some pretty good ideas in there, I started them, but I would never finish the stories. And for me, that's because I didn't spend enough time planning out the stories that I was writing. I would literally just jump right into it, and that could work for some people, but it did not work for me. And so I never wrote the end on any of those stories. So to be able to write the end in the past few years was such a rewarding, gratifying moment for me, and I can totally put that to having planned out my novel beforehand. My next tip for you guys is to create a vision board, Pinterest board, motivational board for your story that you want to create this year. I recommend this a lot now, and it's not something that I used to do before, but once I started doing it, I realized just how valuable it is, and this is why. There'll be many times where I find myself in a writing slump or experiencing writer's block. Happens to the best of us. For those of you who don't know what that is, it's just when you're really not in the mood to write and you have no motivation to write, and it could be a roadblock if your goal is to progress in your writing projects. But vision boards were actually so helpful, because I would create ones that emulate the mood and the aesthetic and the vibe of my story, so that when I'm not motivated to write, I look at it and I'm reminded of how much I love this story idea that I have and how much I want to dive back into my story. It just puts me in the mood to write. Another way people do this is by making playlists for the same purpose. So playlists that have songs that match the theme, the mood, the vibe of your story, and then maybe if you're on a walk or when you're writing, you can put it in and it gets you in the mood. I personally don't prefer writing with music, so I prefer a vision board, but whatever works for you. It's just good to have something that can re-inspire you for your story when you're experiencing a writing block, so you can push past it and continue to write and to not let that stop you. My next tip is kind of related. It's along the same lines as overcoming writer's block, because that's a huge obstacle that a lot of writers face that can keep you from writing a book and keep you from writing, which we don't want to happen this year. We want to be able to overcome that. And it's to not let yourself believe that you are a bad writer. Sometimes we unfairly compare our writing to published books that we're reading, and we look at these and we finish reading them, we're like, oh, that was so good, and then you look at your own writing and you're like, this will never surmount to that. But you have to remember that I bet every writer of your favorite books had that thought before. But the reason these great books exist, these favorite books of yours exist, is because the author was able to silence those voices in their head when it told them that what they were writing was trash, that they were bad writers. They were able to work through that, to push through that, until they had the finished product that you are reading in your hands. Because like the saying goes, Rome wasn't built in a day. These great books had to have started somewhere, and usually that's a really messy first draft with some bad writing. But the thing about that is when you put the words out there, it can always be improved. It's like the other saying where you're like taking a mold of clay, an ugly lump of clay and being able to see past the ugly lump of clay for the beautiful structure that it can be, and to be able to be patient with yourself enough to take the time to whittle away each time you're writing each draft until it's a beautiful structure. So my advice for you is to, if you get those thoughts where you're like, oh, I'm a bad writer, I can't do this, I'm not writing anymore, ignore those thoughts, silence them, work through them, and continue to write anyway, because that's so important in being able to write a book. It's crucial in being able to write a book is to silence those voices and to just write anyway. And hey, I've written some bad things before, but I don't let myself think that I'm a bad writer, just a writer who writes bad things sometimes. And that's okay. Not everything you put out has to be perfect, but it can be perfected through different drafts and through edits. So push through anyway. Another tip to help you achieve your writing goal is to join writing challenges. Now, the most popular ones that I can think of are Camp NaNoWriMo and NaNoWriMo. I think Camp NaNoWriMo is April and July. Not too sure about that, but I know that those ones are a bit smaller in goals compared to NaNoWriMo in November, which is 50,000 words by the end of the month. But either way, those are great challenges to be aware of and to plan on participating in to help you achieve your writing goals. I have marked mine down in my planner so that I'm aware of it, but I have participated in NaNoWriMo 2 years in a row, and because I did, I was able to write so much more than I would have if I didn't participate in it. So definitely use those to your advantage, and what's great is that they're heavily writing community based, so there'll be people cheering you on and participating alongside you, which is great because writing is quite the solo adventure, so it's nice to have a community for something. My last and final tip for you guys is to have fun with it. If you're a writer or you're planning to write more this year, then I'm guessing that writing is a passion of yours. It's definitely one of mine, and it's just something that I absolutely love to do. And so don't be too hard on yourself. Let yourself have fun throughout every process of writing your book this year. I personally love brainstorming and outlining and meeting my characters, getting to know them, and I love writing and watching the story that I create unfold. So whatever you do this year, whatever your goal is, whatever your plan is, remember to have fun with your writing. Those are all the tips I have for you guys today. If you watching this know a great tip that I have not mentioned, feel free to comment it down below. I'm sure other people would love to hear from you. And I hope you guys could find these useful if you're planning to write a book this year. And if you are, I wish you the best of luck, and I hope you have tons of fun in the process. If you enjoyed this video, I'd appreciate it if you give it a thumbs up. If you aren't subscribed, please consider subscribing, and don't forget to hit the post notification bell so you're notified the next time I upload. And I wish you guys a happy year filled with blessings. I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!